Hey Matt, with Nvidia's earnings report coming out next week, is this the most important thing we should focus on when it comes to AI?
Well, everybody's obviously going to be focused on those earnings from Nvidia. The thing is, they're over a week away, and so we can't get too myopic right now. We have a couple of things going on. Let's face it, the chip stocks have not been acting all that well over the last 2 weeks. And they bounced nicely early this week, and we saw how the SMH, which made a very nice bounce off its trend line going back to April. So that's good. The other side, though, is we had Taiwan Semiconductor. They reported their October sales, which were fine, but they were actually the slowest sales we've seen in 18 months. And that stock, which had already broken below its own trend line, has barely gotten back above it. So we have to wait and see if this bounce is something that's going to have some legs, or if it's something that's going to roll back over, given the recent weakness in this key leadership group. The other thing, of course, we're going to be watching very closely is Bitcoin. That's been a key indicator for net liquidity in the system. And when the market's as expensive as it is today, we got to be watching that very closely. So Mary and I discussed the key support and resistance levels for Bitcoin that we're going to be watching like a hawk over the next couple of weeks. So basically what I'm saying is that we still think that the market could and probably should rally into the end of the year, but we do think that there is a possibility that we'll see a pullback between now and Thanksgiving before that rally really takes hold.
Now, you've had some great calls we've heard on the podcast all year, like gold and silver in June and advanced micro the last couple weeks. Are there any specific stocks you're looking at right now?
There are. There's two new names that we're looking at very, very closely. And, that call on Advanced Micro was a two-part call. We got it just before it rallied 65%, and then we called the top in the stock just before it dropped 18%. But these two other names, they are bumping up against key resistance levels. And if you look at this chart, you can see how the second stock that we're talking about is also bumping up against the top line of an ascending triangle pattern. If these things break out, they're going to attract a lot of momentum money. And there's nothing more important than momentum in the stock market right now.
To find out which two specific stocks are highlighted this week, listen to the Maley Report podcast, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. To receive daily, in-depth market updates, subscribe to the Maley Report on Substack. Links in the description.